Welcome to LAX Trax. All lacrosse, all the time. Your source for California lacrosse. Anyways, without further ado, why don't we get going?
Sure.
Anyway, so to our fans out there, we are super fortunate tonight to have a lacrosse legend, and that's what I'm going to call you, Jimmy, as a legend. You're a good friend of the show, good friend of my producer and myself, and we're glad to have the one and the only Loyola Cubs head coach, Jimmy Borell. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Pumped to be here.
Great to have you here, my friend. What we like to do to start these shows, we'll talk a little bit about your background as a player and coach, and then we'll go into kind of you as a person and what you're doing these days. So let's talk a little bit about you as a player. You grew up where, in Virginia, did I read?
Yes, sir. Northern Virginia. So the exact opposite side of the Beltway of University of Maryland.
Oh, nice. And high school, where'd you go?
Lake Braddock, big old public school. Not the best at lacrosse. We were okay, but more of a football powerhouse.
Did you play football as well, or?
I did. I played football, basketball, and then indoor track, and then lacrosse in high school.
Yeah, I heard you were a pretty fast runner there, so that's what the word is.
Evidently, I used to be. So I don't know.
Yeah. Those times change pretty quickly, don't they?
Yes, they do.
That's funny. All right. So from high school, then you went on to play at Maryland, class of 2007. Did I get that right?
2007.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And captain of the team, which is awesome. Tell us a little bit about your time at Maryland.
Yeah, it was great. I had I'll say a unique route getting there. So, I hit puberty super late in high school, like summer before junior year. So I went like 5'2" to 5'9" during that summer. Again, I didn't pick up a lacrosse till the day before tryouts my sophomore year. So I was certainly a late bloomer in every sense of the word. And then what ended up happening, I got to April of my senior year, and a couple coaches came to actually recruit and see this junior defender, Pat Buchanan, who ended up playing at UVA, including Hopkins coach, I think UVA coach. Anyway, so it's back when the coach would actually go to high school games. And they saw me like cleared or something like that, and was like, man, that guy's pretty fast. So I actually got a note from Coach Petramala after that. But again, in the DC area, there's a lot of government contractors, a lot of I'll say higher up officers, right? And it just happens that three of my best friends' dads were colonels in the Air Force. So they sent a couple football clips and track clippings to the football and lacrosse coach over at Air Force. So I actually went to the Air Force prep school first. So I went to Air Force prep school for a year. They didn't have a lacrosse team, so I played football there. And then I went to the academy for a year. And I played lacrosse for a year there. And then I transferred to Maryland and did 4 years in Maryland. So I had to redshirt the first year and then got to play my last three. So it was certainly a roundabout way to get to Maryland, but couldn't have landed in a better place for me. Such a great fit, the culture, the work ethic, the history, the defense, you name it. Had two outstanding coaches, and Dave Sofkowski and Coach Cottle, our head coach, and had some great young assistants while I was there. Andy Copeland was there, which was great. So it was cool seeing him progress to be the coach he became once he left our side. So it was an awesome time. Lucky to be a part of that program.
Yeah, awesome. I love hearing these stories. I love hearing the names because it's great. Because there's guys out there that what happened to that guy, or where did he go, or what's he doing these days?
Yeah.
Even 2007 was kind of a long time ago. So
yeah, absolutely.
So that's cool. So then you went on to play professionally, right? MLL and NLL.
Yeah. So I had a pretty bummer of a senior year. If I got hurt the ninth game in against Johns Hopkins, broke my foot, navicular bone, which is the top support bone, arch bone in your kind of your ankle. And if I would have gotten hurt one game earlier, I probably could have gotten the medical red shirt. But again, so I got hurt. I ended up missing, the last few games of the season, which was again pretty heartbreaking to see your senior season cut short.
Yeah.
Especially after the two previous years where we had a couple outstanding years, went to two Final Fours. So that was pretty devastating. But I was sitting there on crutches with all my teammates, and the MLL draft was on TV or whatever, so we're all watching it together, and you see a bunch of studs get picked. Harry Alford and Steve Wittenberg was that year as well. And then I think it got down to whatever one of the last picks were, and then it's like, and the LA Riptides select Jimmy Borell. I was like, and the coach called me. He's like, hey, listen, I know. So my ankle injury. It's funny. It's like I guess they said that was the first injury they've seen in lacrosse. It's usually a basketball injury, and it's just you get injured. Like I'm a work guy, right? I love working, right?
Yeah.
I love the grind. But this injury was you have 2 months cold turkey on crutches, and then you have 2 months in a walking boot. There's no rehab for it. It's not like muscular. And then they go in there and they X-ray it, and if it's healed properly, you can start working back into it. If it's not healed properly, they surgery, they put a pin in it, and you got another 4 months, right? So pretty much after 4 months, I get hurt in April, right? May, June, July, August. So I'm missing the entire first MLL season. So the LA Riptide GM, which is GW Mix, right? Here's a small world. The Corona Mark coach, he calls me up. He's like, hey Jimmy, we heard a lot about you. We love you. We have Xander Ritz on our team, speaks highly of you, and a couple other guys out here. Scott Hoxley was obviously already out there as well. We know you can't play this summer. We're so sorry about the injury, but we want you for the long haul. And I was like, oh, I didn't want you to waste. I didn't want you to waste a pick on me. Just I wanted to make sure that was pretty transparent that I won't be able to play this summer. So what ended up happening is, I stayed on another semester, and finished up my thesis for my kinesiology program at Maryland, and then was they call it the GA assistant now, right? So I got to coach with the best guys. I ran the strength and conditioning program that fall and winter. Played a lot of golf, just had a really good time.
Nice,
and then
nice.
I got cleared to run 2 weeks before the NLL combine. So we got flown out to Denver. It was at the Pepsi, what used to be the Pepsi Center, where the Nuggets play. And I I somehow ran the fastest 40-yard dash there. So I was expected to not get drafted, or maybe whatever. And I ended up being like a third round pick for the Wings. So it was pretty cool. It's the NLL. I wish it could have played longer. It was tough not having a team out west. Once San Jose moved up to Washington, and I kind of fell more in love with coaching. But doing a year and a half on the Wings and then half a year on the San Jose Stealth, it was pretty cool. Being able to go to a stadium and have all your football buddies from Northern Virginia drive up, and those, if you've ever been to some of those games, especially in the packed houses that are Philly, Buffalo, Denver, it's like between 14,000, 18,000 fans. It's a party. It's awesome. So I absolutely loved it. I wish I would have played box lacrosse earlier, and it certainly helped my field game once I got back to the MLO.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you go to any indoor games at all these days?
Yeah. Again, San Diego's a couple hours away, but I think I've been to like 4 or 5 games. It's been fun. Good buddy of mine, Kyle Hartzell, was playing for the Seals for a little bit, so we go down and watch him, and a bunch of Maryland guys were playing for them as well. Or whenever they were in town, I try and go down, like when Rambo was playing for the Wings and all that stuff. So no, I still love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. We're fortunate. Jimmy and I go to the games down here, and it's pretty cool, and gotten to know a lot of the great players. And some of those couple guys from Denver that we've gotten to become good friends with, and Westberg being one of them. And
Oh yeah,
it's it's a lot
that
of
guy's
fun.
unreal.
Yeah,
Wes is gotta be one of my favorite,
yeah.
most favorite players to watch. He's unreal.
He does one between his legs, behind his back, and between the legs. It's incredible to watch. So
Yeah, he's unreal.
quite a guy. But well, good. Well, so okay, so you mentioned coaching. So you got into coaching. Tell us a little bit about that. Where did it all start, and we know where you are today.
Yeah, I think it all started back in Maryland. The summer session, I wasn't too focused on anything but lacrosse. I just, it was still new to me. I was just loving it more and more every year. And Coach Cottle and Coach Sloff had kind of asked me to coach a couple of camps, in Ocean City and Virginia, the Maryland camp, you name it. So I'd really coach all summer for those 4 years I was there, and just had an absolute blast. Like it was so much fun. Just fell in love with it. Again, being a kinesiology guy, just
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love the way, I love the way the body works and being able to translate that into coaching. So that's kind of where it lit a fire in me that I was like, man, I want to keep doing this. So getting out to LA, and I was fortunate to be an assistant coach at Palos Verdes as soon as I moved out here. So I was assistant coach for 2 years, and I kind of took over the helm and was the head coach for 9 years at
Oh,
at
nice.
PV. Yeah,
You had PV, and then you won some championships, right? With those years, I think, right?
yeah. I think we won like
I
three
think you
LA
got.
champions.
I think I got you down as 3 LA City section
Yep,
titles,
yep, yeah. That
and
was
then
back
and
back
nine
in the day. It
conference
was,
titles.
yes. Yeah, back in the day where you had your LA champion and then your OC champion. So we had our own 16 team bracket that we had to fight through. So
No, that's cool. So then you went on to Loyola after that, right? And you've been there. What, this your fifth year,
fifth year, yeah,
fifth
just
year,
finished my fifth year. Yep.
fifth year, and you did some Southern Section championships with Loyola, right?
Yep, we won the first one in 2021, and then last two seasons just came up short in the championship game. But we've been pretty consistent at getting there. So we'll
No,
we'll,
no,
we'll
that's
take
cool.
that.
So just kind of comparing the LA City stuff and then versus the current Southern Section, is it dramatically different, or is it similar, or
I would say
it evolved, or
it's a lot. It's tougher. Frankly, just because if you look at the history in the past, I'd say 8 years, right? You're or even 4 to 8 years, whatever you want to call it. I think the four best teams have really been Corona Del Mar, St. Margaret's, Foothill, and Loyola, right? That's kind of been the top four teams, leading the charge.
right?
And then obviously, yeah, there's the four other teams like Westlake and Mater Dei, and then Santa Margarita Catholic has really come on, and then there's always been that eighth team here and there, right? So I mean, if you look at it, it's like it's been tougher. It's certainly tougher to get to the championship game now, just
Yeah,
because when three of the top four teams are out of Orange County, you're going to run into one of those during the semis. So
yeah. A lot more parity, I guess, these days.
absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and yeah, we're still tweaking the process. Like first couple of years, 16 team bracket. This year we did a 12 team bracket. We might do a 8 team Division 1 bracket with similar to the volleyball or basketball model, where you do the two pool plays of 4 teams, and then the winner of the pool plays play for the CIF championship. So we might do that next year. We'll see how the committee
Yeah, you
votes.
guys have, what do you have? Division 1, 2, 3 up in Southern
Correct.
Section. Down here
Yep.
in San
Correct. One,
Diego,
two, three.
we're open 1, 2, 3. So
Yeah.
just to include some more teams, I'm really happy we went to the D3 because it allowed a lot of teams to win a championship that couldn't come close to taking on the open division guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, God, it's grown so much since we've been out here. I was looking the other day. I'm like, we're well above 105 teams
Yeah,
between Orange County
that's
and
just
and
amazing.
LA.
The
It's
growth has been
awesome.
tremendous, but the growth has been guys like you have helped that, which has been great. And speaking of that, so you've been relatively involved in the youth programs as well, right? Because you
Yeah, yeah.
started a couple of clubs, or are you still involved with all that? How's that all going?
I've stepped away from a lot of the youth club stuff. When I first moved out here, I was pretty heavily involved with, all the West Coast Stars
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stuff. Going back east, I also did, I had my factory lacrosse
Right.
program, which is pretty much from, Santa Monica down to Palos Verdes, right? So I had like 5 or 6 teams, anywhere from third or fourth grade up to, high school elite levels. So, and I ran the youth program in PV and Torrance for, and I guess South Redondo a little bit too. We had a couple of those kids drive up the hill, for over a decade. So, I've coached, in one year I even coached back when Marymount was like MCLA D2. They needed
Oh,
a
how
coach
funny.
for a year.
Yeah.
So I went and helped out there. So they were like, "Hey, can you be a head coach this spring?" I was like, "Well, I'm coaching PV as well." And they're like, "All right, well, can you make it work? You can make the schedule." I'm like, "Well, I'll just make the schedule on my PV schedule." So that was a busy spring, but yeah, just again, I love it. I coaching the kindergartners.
Yeah.
Makes just remind you how much fun it is to just goof off and mess around and just get a stick in their hand early, and then getting to translate over to middle school kids where you always have that size and skill disparity, and trying to develop good young men who are going to transition smoothly into high school, and then again kind of preparing the best of the best to go play in college. So I always loved kind of bouncing back and forth. It kept it fresh for me, kept it exciting, and I love coaching every single level.
Yeah, I think it's a real testament to guys like you and certainly others that we've talked to and other people that we know that, I mean, the high school and then off to college level is only as good as the pipeline fill, right? And it's where you guys have taken the kindergartners, the second, the fifth grade, up through middle school, and that's just so critical, obviously, for the growth of the game. And having that vision and understanding that you just can't come right in and start coaching high school and then everybody's going to be great and go off and play D1 programs. You got to really build that pipeline. Um,
Yeah,
you
absolutely,
know,
absolutely.
and
Again,
sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gotta give all those guys still doing it. I unfortunately don't. I'm sure I'm gonna get dragged back into it in a few years when my boys are of age. But it's having a break right now, but still seeing all the guys who have the feet to the pavement with the youth guys, whether the SBLC guys, all the Santa Monica guys. Sean Lindsay's been doing it forever up in the valley,
Right.
Westlake area. So all those guys who are still developing the youth. I mean, we wouldn't have the high school success that we have now without all those guys that are teaching these kids the fundamentals and also helping them fall in love with the sport. I think that's what I love seeing the most. We're not getting kids into high school or into Loyola who are like burnout or tired of lacrosse. They love the sport. They have this gleam in their eye about it when they come on campus, and they're eager to work and be coachable and be the best lacrosse players and guys they can be.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've had kids that have played and I've a daughter played, two sons that have played. I played and there's just something about it. It's really special and it's really nice to see the growth of the youth program, especially, where you guys are, certainly down here in San Diego County. And I grew up in Colorado and played high school there. And it's just the growth has been tremendous, but the growth has to come with leaders that can have the passion to pass on that growth and that passion to kids, in younger ages. And what you guys have been doing and what is going on, it's really a testament to guys that have real desire and passion for the game. So kudos to you guys on that. So anyways, let's talk a little bit about this year, and then get to know you a little bit, just kind of with some fun questions and some things that are sort of off ball and oddball and whatnot. You guys got into the finals this year, and tell us about this year's team.
Yeah, it was an interesting year just because we weren't sure what we were going to have. We knew we were extremely young on the offensive side of the ball. We knew what we had coming back on the defensive side of the ball. but we weren't really sure what our goalie situation was going to be like. We struggled last year trying three different guys with goal, in between the pipes, and it was just tough. Whether we didn't support them well enough, or we just couldn't hit our stride. So we had a tough year at goalie last year, and then this freshman class is a very talented class, but it's such a tough jump, let alone going from eighth grade to high school, but going from like eighth grade to the schedule that we play, right? And the teams we play. So we have some high expectations. There's certainly realistic, where we expect guys to struggle and maybe not perform the best, or take some lumps, and but our freshmen were outstanding this year. From I love it. I'd say we were kind of bookending the field with freshmen, right? So
Nice.
we had a freshman goalie, Will Russo, who had an outstanding year. The fact that kid never got rattled, he only had two turnovers the entire year, which is wild to me.
Unreal.
I mean, absolutely wild. And he was around 56%, I think, saving the ball. Had some big games against some big programs. Andrew Goldman, our faceoff guy, he was outstanding. He was, in the 60%. He ended up, first team all league, first team all LA area. Then obviously Trip King. I think that was a kid everybody kind of knew about. I think he's pretty darn special. And I think he'll be a top 50 or top 100 recruit in the nation. So, but even him, it's like we knew he was gonna have, probably attract the number one defenseman, which, depending on the day, that's probably some 18-year-old senior committed to D1 or D3.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the fact that he had the year that he did is, just a testament to who he is as a young man and as a lacrosse player. So I think those three guys really blew us out of the water in terms of, how they performed. We brought back a very good defense with a lot of depth, right? So, we had two freshmen who get a ton of playing time, that were now sophomores, Chase Helly, Everett Rolfe, two sophomores who started last year that are now juniors, Gus Singh and Henry Kasani. And then, we had our main man, Luke Stickler, kind of anchoring everything. And, his buddy, who's a reserve LSM and close to Chase Jacobs, who was just the man. So, having, and then just being blessed with like three senior D middies that like loved what they did.
Yeah.
Now David Cardenas is like an old school, because he ran first line, and then also was like Kenny Russo, who's going to BU next year. He was like his second hand man. And then we had this other kid, a basketball kid, just pick up a stick sophomore year. Kid can dunk a basketball, is going to Notre Dame he has an academic scholarship, 35 ACT kid. And like,
Jeez.
he just picks up a stick and is, I have a basketball background, and I think that's what helped me, how easy that transition was to lacrosse. Just the movements, especially defensively, not having to worry about the stick skills as much. He did an outstanding job for us. So, we were pretty darn strong on the defensive side of the field. And I think that kind of helped with the growth of our offense. Having a good face-off guy really helped with the growth of our offense, because, at the end of the day, it's, we had Cash Ginsburg coming back, who's only a sophomore. He ended up being all league, all first team, all area, all that good stuff. And then Finn Hazelton, another stud. So it's like we started two sophomores at attack and one freshman.
So how many seniors did you have on the team this year?
We had eight. We had eight. I'm sorry, nine. Yeah, we had nine seniors. And our guys playing at the next level is Ben Horowitz, who missed half the season with a broken collarbone. And then we had Luke Stickler, who's obviously going to Johns Hopkins, and then Kenny Russo, who's going to Boston. And then, a couple other guys like David Cardenas played a lot for us. Tommy Lawton was a guy who had some good D-midi runs. Chase Jacobs, some good reserve LSM runs. Andrew Bloor, who another reserve short stick D-mid. And, when we had our injuries toward the end of the year, he even picked up a pull for us. So Connor Testa, who ran a little bit of first and second line midfield. So, yeah, and then John Doyle, big old John, 6'4", 250.
Nice.
Played some goalie for us last year. I think he's played every position in lacrosse, but he was kind of
Nice.
reserve attackman and midi for us. So, but
Yeah.
I mean, they were such a good group of guys. I always give them so much credit for just elevating our program in terms of what's acceptable for a Loyola Cub in terms of work ethic and accountability. Man,
Yeah.
those guys brought it every single day for 4 years, and I think everybody except maybe one or two of those guys. I guess the original four, right? So I think I brought up Benji halfway through freshman year. I brought up Luke, Chase, Kenny, and David for like Mission League playoffs and then CIF playoffs their freshman year. So they got to win a championship with Owen Gaffney and those guys their
Oh, that's
freshman
cool.
year.
That's cool.
But yeah, those guys really set the tone from day one. And this is how you do things. This is how you work. This is how you hold each other accountable. They were outstanding leaders and outstanding guys.
So promising future. It's what it sounds like. It sounds like you had a lot of kids, young guys that are coming up that are going to be pretty special.
Yeah, absolutely. We get a great 2026 class. We got some stud defenders in the 2025 class, and then obviously a great 27 class, and hopefully we'll have a good 28 class coming in. So yeah, the future's bright at Loyola. So I'm
Nice,
excited
nice.
for the next few years.
We'll catch up with you again back in February and see how that all shakes out. But
Perfect.
congrats on a great year.
Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about you and sort of you and your thoughts on different things. You talked a little bit about the high school and the youth programs. What other than the obvious difference of size, what's your biggest challenge, or you think the biggest difference between the two, high school versus youth? I mean, obviously the size is one thing, but mentally, coachability wise, just what's your thoughts?
That's a great question. I think again, I know I talked about, but just the progression of coaching kindergartners through high school elite guys, right? Your juniors and
Mm-hmm.
seniors. I just think there's certain building blocks you need to instill, certain foundations. I'm a firm believer that everything needs to be fun based and enjoyable, all the way up to middle school. I'll never forget. I still tell this story. I'm coaching a K1 team against another K1 team in the rec league, and we're like a team of all kindergartners, and we're playing like a team of all first graders. And at halftime, they're all asking me to do some WWF moves like backbreakers, right? We're
Nice.
close there's kids like just trying to sweep my legs and like drop kicking me, and we're just having a blast. And I look over and there's five dads with whiteboards at a K1 game. I'm like, guys, these are the kids who are gonna
Oh my
quit.
gosh.
Um, but it's and that's I give Ian Mills and Rob Zappo at SBLC, um, so much credit because they do such a good job of just, yeah, they're teaching fundamentals, but it's fun based, right? It's through games, they enjoy it. It's, by the time these kids get to middle school, they love the sport. If they don't love the sport, like they're just gonna quit it.
Mm-hmm.
And lacrosse is the best sport in the world, and the better your stick skills get, the more fun you have. It's really
Right,
that simple.
right.
So the fact that they're getting these kids out, and they already love the sport by the time they get to middle school, and then things can get a little bit more competitive from there. Travel ball, regional tournaments that are more competitive, even national tournaments going back east. So I think that progression is really really important. And then it's once they get to high school, I think the most important time in a young man's life is again, not just lacrosse wise, but mental development. Just learning these and instilling these core values, right? A strong work ethic, being a great teammate, being punctual,
Yeah. Nice.
being respectful, all that stuff. There's just such a for me, I always loved coaching between the seventh graders through 10th graders. I think that is the period where kids can make the most growth in the shortest amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Guys are sponges there. A lot of guys are going through puberty there. So, you're able to teach them more and more and more. I think they see the results of their hard work sooner when they're, when they're going through puberty. I think they have that excitement of, oh man, I just want to make the high school team, and then once they get to high school, oh man, I want to make the varsity team.
Yeah.
I think there's just that yearning to get better, and be coachable and be sponges. So that's always been my favorite group of guys to coach because I think they get so much better in such a short period of time. It's a special time. I love that age.
No, that's cool. No, that's great. A great answer to the question. But no, I can see that, and I agree. 7 through 10 is probably a major sponge time. So
I got a story, a Jimmy story, and Tom's probably got an echo, but I remember the first time I went to Sandstorm. I think Jimmy had like 3 or 4 teams that were at Sandstorm, and he was pulling kids from here, putting jerseys on them. Get to field 6, you go to field 5. It was just the kids were just like, heck yeah, all right, and they would run over there. It was by far the happiest club team on the field, and he let everybody do anything. It wasn't results based. It was just purely teaching the game. So I'll never forget that when my son played for you for a little bit for the Heat. He played goalie. He played long stick. He's a big guy. He even played D midi, and he couldn't wait for the next game. So definitely brought the fun.
Kudos.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And I know, it's not the most popular opinion, but I've always felt from day one, winning at all cost, or sacrificing your character just to win or just to perform well. At the end of the day, a lot of these club tournaments, the championships mean absolutely squat. And I know it's not the most popular opinion, but I honestly I understand, like, there's not where some kids have a lot of adversity, a lot of kids don't. And I think lacrosse and any contact sport, frankly, it's so many life skills are taught through that. And I would always try and put, while teaching, obviously having some fun out there, I'd always try and put my kids in like really tough situations, right? Uncomfortable situations, so they do have an opportunity to grow, and they do face some adversity, and we're able to learn from that and grow from that, right? So I try to balance the two of those things, because it's also not fun to lose every single game, right? Kids can lose interest in that, but
sure.
It certainly is a delicate balance, and funny when you don't have a ton of control over the score when you're on the sideline, and you get to talk to your players maybe once for 2 minutes during the 2 23-minute halves or whatever it is, these tournaments. But
exactly.
yeah, some we always try to do, which I understand that the games that are important to win are those toward the end of the season. So
yeah. Ah, very good, very good. All right, let's move on a little bit. This is a question we've asked a lot of coaches, and I probably know your answer, but I want to get it from you. So if I want to characterize you, are you either a drive or a skills guy? And what I mean by that is, if you're down to the final cut and a guy has a ton of skills but zero drive, or a lot of drive but no skills at all, who are you most favoring?
yeah, I'm the drive guy 100 times out of 100.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can
I
teach
don't.
the skills, right?
Yeah, you can certainly teach the skills. I think that's something I've tried to excel at from an early coaching age. Is you give me a good athlete, I'll make him a great lacrosse player.
There you go.
You give me a great athlete with a great work ethic, and there's no way he's not becoming a great lacrosse player. So I will take that guy every single time. We've had some great lacrosse players who haven't, I'll say, cycled out of the program, or retired early from the program, just because they didn't have that
Yeah.
team first attitude, or a strong enough work ethic, and or the character that we liked, that were certainly unbelievably skilled guys, right? And that's just at the end of the day, that's just not nearly as important to me, as a kid who's a, a hard worker, right, and a great
Right.
teammate. So
Yeah. All right, good. Hardest position to coach, in your opinion?
Oh man, for me, definitely goalie.
Yeah.
100%. It's
Probably
not.
heard that 80% of the time.
It
Tell
is
us why.
not. it's not even close.
Yeah. A lot of guys don't want to play goalie, right?
Well, I'm self-proclaimed the worst goalie coach in the world. So, I always joke around that, I had, for my 9 years in PV, I was blessed with, Dean McCann for 4 years, who went to play goalie at Duke. I had Connor Jungaward, who went to play D3 at Century College, and then Dean McCann's younger brother, Kyle McCann, for 4 years. And, he had a couple D1 offers and then ended up going to from Indiana, but, he almost went to Colgate or Bryant. So it's like I had 9 years of college goalies, and really for us, like, there wasn't a lot of teaching other than like my standpoint, was like, hey, look at your angle, maybe try a higher crease, and then me just shoot, my younger years, right, shooting the crap out of the ball for 30 minutes against them every day. So when I got to really sit down and talk with, like, Mike Gavosden, who's taught me so much and given me some drills that I can help my goalies out with, I'm getting better in my old age,
Nice,
but
nice.
that's still the toughest position.
Do you guys have a dedicated coach at Loyola
Yeah,
for
we do
goalie?
now. I was dying laughing. So this year we had two goalie coaches, Jake Stout, who played at Towson, and also went to Loyola Blakefield. He works in tech and lives in Santa Monica. And then we were very lucky to have Cam Beeler come back. So Cam Beeler played at Loyola, went and played D1 at St. John's. And then he had to take pretty much a year off of school because of knee surgery. So I mean, having an alumni back who went and play D1, and it's been a blessing to have both those guys. But we had four outstanding goalies in our program this year, so I thought it was important to show those guys some love and,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
develop them.
Yeah. No question about it. No, that's cool. All right, good stuff. You mentioned you played basketball. Do you encourage your players to play any other sports, or are you focusing them on lacrosse?
No, absolutely. Listen, I realized that the three sport athlete is all but extinct. But there are those elite athletes who can play multiple sports, and I think that certainly helps in the long run, and it raises their ceiling. It certainly develops a more athletic foundation, and at the end of the day, you can only play a certain amount of sports for so long. So you play as many sports for as long as you can. I realize that's tougher and tougher to do, and you see kids who are like, they try, right? It's like, all right, I'll try football this year, and they ride the pine the entire time, and then that's it, right? But or you see guys who are able to play basketball and lacrosse for 2 years, and then they don't make varsity basketball, so they only play lacrosse junior senior year. Like, that's great. There's so much crossover at just game sense that
Mm.
helps. It's like, even though you don't play lacrosse, playing basketball really improves your lacrosse IQ. Playing football makes you tougher. I mean, there's so many sports and positions that cross over. Like Trent Turner, who's playing at Loyola now, was an outstanding varsity, 4 year varsity basketball and lacrosse guy for us. Trip King, our stud freshman attackman. He was a great linebacker. He was backup running back, and obviously he had an outstanding year for us. And I just sat down with him. I go, hey man, I want you to try out for JV basketball this year as well. Like, play football, go try out for JV basketball. I think that'll help you a ton. And then we'll see you in the spring for lacrosse. I just think, especially, I keep talking about this seventh grade through 10th grade window. I just think it's so important to develop that overall athleticism. It's, you can only do it so long. And kudos to our guys at Loyola who were able to do that. Like Henry Casani just finished his junior year, and he's, all league and all CIF and football, and just got his first football offer to the Navy, which is awesome.
Nice.
But he's a two sport stud, and that's so difficult to do nowadays. And I don't think those guys get enough credit. But more power to them. I'm always pushing those guys to do that.
Yeah, awesome. I probably tend to agree with you as well. Switch gears here a little bit. Just getting to know you here a little bit. You seem like pretty mellow, pretty fun guy. Have you ever been thrown out of a game?
Oh man. Um, Yeah, I had a run, and I always laugh, right? It's like whoever thought to give a 25-year-old his first coaching, head coaching gig was obviously desperate, or so I think it was 25 or just turning 26 when I got mine at PV, and I would get kicked out of probably one game a year.
One game a
And
year. Wow.
yeah, for 3 years.
Nice.
And then,
Nice.
You might hold the record
Yeah,
so
that's
far.
got to be
yeah,
a
You're the
record.
record
That's a record.
for the show, at
yeah,
least.
Yeah, certainly,
yeah.
certainly for the show. Tell us about the craziest one or the fun or whatever.
Oh, well, and I feel like a lot of these were I don't think a lot of these were during, I don't think I ever got kicked out of a spring season one. A lot of these were like, club
Club
tournaments
games,
where I was
yeah.
coaching my high school. The two funniest ones was one was up in Carmel at some tournament, or no, it was in Santa Barbara, and I got kicked out of the game. Just I don't know, I was just butting heads with this referee, and then I changed clothes and then wore a backwards hat, and I came back the second half and coached, and he didn't realize it. That was pretty
Nice.
funny.
That's awesome. That is
And then
funny.
yeah, and then the other one was, we were trying to be classy and run out the clock up five, and my little attackman, we called him Water Bug. Dino Furchiotti, he was, maybe 140 pounds soaking wet. This guy was slashing the crap out of him. The ref wasn't calling anything. And then he had one real bad slash to like the back in the neck, and I lost it. I'm like running out of the field. I'm getting in the referee's face, like my player's almost in tears. I am screaming bloody murder. Like his dad comes down from the stands to like pull me off, and like, I just, I was seeing red, unfortunately. But fast forward, that kid is now my dentist, so I'm glad I was nice to that guy.
Nice.
Wow, that's cool.
It's good you went down and grabbed him. Now he has to take care of your teeth and drill and fill, and
Uh,
that could be interesting, right, Jimmy?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
no,
Hey,
no
real quick,
cavities yet.
Coach,
Sure.
do you have a hard stop at 8? You mentioned a meeting.
No, that was yesterday.
Okay.
I actually I got the days crossed. So yeah, my meeting was yesterday.
Just
That went
trying to
to
set the pace
to
for our
9:30.
host.
set the pace. We
No,
just
no,
have a few more things. We're having
I
such a
appreciate
good
it.
chat with you, but we got some kind of fun questions here to ask you.
I
I
got
just
plenty of time.
I just mentioned the one about getting thrown out of the game. How about this? What is the craziest thing a parent has ever emailed or texted or called you about? And doesn't have to be high school. It can be youth, whatever.
Gosh, I think we have a bunch of these saved between me and a couple other coaches. Like we're gonna put out a book in like 5 or 10 years.
I'll be the first to buy it.
We'll read it on the show.
We'll read it on the show. Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick on, and I mean, just an absolute great guy. This isn't an email. This is actually a verbal confrontation I had with the dad. His son ended up he's working at Wells Fargo downtown. He played at Trinity for 4 years and now coaches for me at Loyola. But his son was like a sixth or seventh grader, and he played at Gettysburg. He played at Gettysburg, right? He's from my hometown. He's obviously older, but he was, I think, my second meeting when I moved out to Los Angeles in '08, right? And we're having this conversation. Scott Hoxton introduced us, and he's like, hey, he's like, Jimmy, oh nice, where are you from? I'm like, Northern Virginia. He's like, we're in Northern Virginia. I'm like, Fairfax. He's like, we're in Fairfax. Anytime someone asks you that, you're like, oh boy, here we go.
There we
He's like,
go.
what high school did you go to? Lake Braddock, right? And he goes, I went to Robinson, F you, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're big rival high schools, right? I'm like, oh, great. And moved 2,500 miles away and run into, our rival high school guy. So, anyway, he's on the other, he's on the parent sideline, and I'm barking orders to our defense and his son, and I'm just hearing him bark orders as well to his son. And, half of them are the wrong thing. And I finally just stopped, and I'm like, Jeff, shut the hell up. Quit yelling. And it was so funny because you just like zipped it. And he came up to me after the game. I go, hey man, I'm really sorry for yelling at you. That was uncalled for. He goes, Jimmy, I just like felt this weight come off my shoulders. Like, yeah, I need to shut up. I should be his dad and just watch. Like, you got this. Like this. And he goes, I've never felt a sense of relief come over me like that. I'm like, well, I'm glad we're both apologizing because I thought you were ready to kill me. So
Nice. That's a good one. That's a good one. We actually had one coach on, I forget who it was, that said he was going to the parking lot to his car, and a dad went after him as he was getting into his car. And I thought that was pretty crazy too. But the one you just said was pretty good as well. But I'm sure you could write a book about this, my friend, and I would definitely read that book.
Ones. Yep, there are some good ones out there.
I know. I've done some coaching my day too, and boy, I'll tell you. All right. Let me ask you this: do you have any superstitions before a game, as either a coach or when you were a player? Superstitions.
Oh, as a player, I was very, very OCD about my cleats. So I would tie and retie them. Oh man, at least 3 times, usually between 3 and 5 times before a game. They had to be perfect. I always had to do a triple knot. I was just really, really detailed oriented about my cleats. I was like, these are the only 2 things attached to the ground. They need to be perfect. So that was probably my my one as a player. As a coach, there's a lot of things. It's like you do things long enough. There's I went through a phase where I'd run the stadium before every game wherever I was. I just try and run the stairs, get a workout in. I still try and get a workout in on game days. I think it settles the mind a little bit. But in terms of specific superstitions, no, I feel like I'm still adjusting and trying to get better every single year. So I never want to be, and I always feel like each year is just a different group, a different family, etc. So like I never try and do the same thing that I've done 10 years ago. I've definitely changed it up. So nothing exciting. Sorry.
So not wearing the same set of clothes every day till you lose.
No, no, nothing
We've
like
had
that.
Let me tell you,
I'm not.
that was kind of weird. It's kind of creepy,
not,
actually, but
not too superstitious there.
all right, that's cool. That's cool. All right, how about you have any nicknames, or did you, or do you?
Did I? No, I've been trying to ditch the MY for so long, be more of an adult gym. But it's in the sporting world, especially lacrosse world, it's like they throw a Y off of everything. So no, from Jimmy, Jimbo, J Bone, Borelli, just that was my favorite Canadian one. Hey, Borelli, playing indoor.
Hold on, Borelli.
Yeah.
That's funny. So none of your players have anything. What do they call you? Anything? Just coach, I guess. But
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
Nothing too
Nothing too
crazy.
crazy. My buddies would call me chicken legs just because I got really skinny legs.
Nice.
I have whatever the opposite of calves are.
There you go. Chicken legs. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. So favorite food. What's your go-to?
Oh, favorite food, man. I've gotten really. I shouldn't say good, but my coaches will say it's good, but they're probably just being nice to me. I have my coaches over all the time, and I'll cook them homemade pizzas in my uni oven.
Nice.
So I feel like, and I worked at Papa John's for like 2 years in high school.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I'm really bougie and detail oriented about my pizza. So it's like,
what's your favorite? What pizza is your favorite?
I got two favorites right now. One's a meats and sweets. So I do like, capicola, salami, pepperoni, on a olive oil base, and then once I get it out in the oven, I'll put honey on it. So that one's outstanding.
Phenomenal.
Then I also do a fig prosciutto and a truffle oil one. So yeah, some fancy zaz.
When are we coming over, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Time.
Hey, there's a couple good pizza spots in LA now. Do you go to any good spots near campus or?
So my favorite one right now is this place, Bertino's. There's one like in San Pedro, and there's another one out in Hawthorne. And
Okay.
that's been pretty darn good. I've gotten a white pizza from there. I've got a buffalo chicken pizza there. Their pepperoni. You should look them up on Instagram. They have like a ridiculous Instagram. It's
We
really,
will.
really good. It's
For
really,
sure.
really good pizza.
We're on that, Jimmy. Let's get on.
We're gonna get down south a lot more next season for sure, because I don't have to lug my son around to games or do all that. So I'm gonna grab Tom and we're gonna hit the road, go to a couple
I love
Loyola
it.
games,
Yeah,
grab
we'll
some
come up
pizza.
your way for sure.
Would love that.
Grab a
You
bite
guys
with
are you guys are welcome to come over. I'll make you pizza and margaritas. That's
Oh,
my wheelhouse.
That's a done deal. Pencil that in,
That's
Jimmy.
perfect.
Pencil that in. That's our wheelhouse too.
I love it.
All right, what's your favorite movie?
I got two: Point Break and Roadhouse.
Roadhouse, good flick, dude. Love that flick. That's good. Those are
Yeah.
good. Any reason why? Just actors
You know what?
or theme or what?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Patrick Swayze guy. I also love Keanu Reeves. I think Point Break was a movie that I watched like when I was on the East Coast. I was like, man, it'd be cool to move out to California one day. And then I tore my pec when I was playing for the Outlaws, and I got surgery the next morning. And I ended up staying at a buddy's place for probably 48 hours. And for 24 hours straight, I just alternated Point Break and Roadhouse for 24 hours. I remember his wife came in. He was like, "Do you want to watch anything else?" I'm like, "Nope, this is amazing. This is like paradise."
All you needed was some pizza and a margarita, and you would have been all set.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
All right. How about this one? Who's your favorite celebrity? Dead, alive, current, whatever. Favorite celebrity?
Oh, favorite celebrity. I mean, I guess it would have to be an athlete, but I'm a big Michael Jordan guy.
Oh, nice.
Uh, just grew up watching him. I picked number 23 in football and lacrosse because I wanted to be the Michael Jordan of whatever I was doing. So staying up late, sneaking off to the basement to watch him play. Was fortunate enough that my pops take me to Wizards games whenever the Bulls are in town. So yeah, I was just huge fan of his. It's yeah, it's
Did you
there's
ever meet him? Did you ever get a chance to meet him?
no, I didn't get a chance, but it's just one of those guys. Just how he worked, how intense he was.
What a work ethic, man.
Yeah, just I always that always resonated with me.
All right, good stuff. Jimmy, any thoughts on from the other side of the garage here?
No, sorry about the technical difficulties in the beginning. We made it too difficult, and all we needed was Zoom and a good mic, and we're rolling. Hey, I got a question. We're trying to
Sure.
get one of your teammates. You played with Adam Sear, right?
Played with Adam, yeah, I did.
So we're trying to get him on the show. Maybe we can wedge your arm or hold your arm to get you on and reminisce about the past with Adam. But I'll definitely link up with you on that. But we really appreciate you being on the show. We've been trying to get you on for the last 6 months, but you're a man dedicated to his craft and is focused. So during the season, you were very busy, and the results show. But thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been great, and thank you for all that you've done for my boys. You at some point you've coached them over. I don't know, Matthew just turned 21, so sometime over the last 15 years you coached him, and you almost had Tommy as a Cub, but he still wears his Nike emblem drive fit, and one time he wore it to practice, and Kevin Cooper said, "Take that shit off."
I'm just getting myself in trouble with Coop.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else you want to tell us, Coach, or say to us, or say to the audience, or anything you want to? Final thoughts?
No, again, I love doing this stuff. I love sharing my passion for the game, and thank you guys for giving me a platform to share this. And hopefully I'll be around another 15, 20 years. I'm not getting any younger, but I still feel like I have so much more to give the game. So I'm excited to keep this going, and thank you guys for all you do and spreading the game. And like I said, just interviewing me. It's always just exciting. I mean, I love this stuff. So thank you.
Well, we're certainly honored to have you. I know we had an amazing show here tonight, Jimmy, and
Yep.
Really want to thank you to our guest, Jimmy Borell, for being on us, head coach at Loyola. And honestly, my friend, it's been an honor for us to have spent some time with you. And we really appreciate you being here to help us get our podcast going and give us some serious credibility on our podcast. So we really appreciate it. And we'll be up there to have some pizza margaritas. So keep the door open, and we'll be on our way. So thanks again for all your stories.
Anytime. Thank you.
All right,
thanks, Jimmy.
Friend. Have a great summer.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Take care. Thanks, Jimmy.
Bye-bye.
I'm going to end it here.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So what a night we had with Coach Jimmy Borell from the Loyola Cubs. What an amazing guy. What an honor to have him. And once again, we encourage you to send us a comment on Instagram or email us or whatever to give us some feedback on what you like about the show. We apologize for the hiatus we were on. Season was pretty intense and kind of took a lot of time from us, but we are back. We are bigger and better than ever, and we really appreciate our fans and you guys for being out there. And I got to give a big shout out to my producer, Jimmy Bull, for all the hard work that he does. So anyways, folks, we'll look forward to many more shows with you and look forward to talking to you guys again here very soon. And in my advice that I give you every week, every time we're on a show, keep it within the pipes.